What's going on, Dwight? So check this out. This is an example of the question for the homework. Show that x minus 5 is a factor of p of x, which is equal to 3x cubed minus 16x squared plus x plus 20, and then factor p of x completely. So there are two parts to this question, all right? And that's what I want to focus on. The first part is to show this. So that's what we're going to do first, is show that. The second part is you're going to factor p of x all the way through. So let's focus on the first thing, which is figure out how we show that x minus 5 is a factor of the function, of the polynomial. What you're going to do is you're going to divide this polynomial by what we want to show as a factor. So you're going to divide that function p of x by x minus 5, and if the remainder is 0, then the x minus 5 is a factor. And if the remainder is not 0, then the x minus 5 is not a factor. So our expectation is that we're going to get a remainder of 0 because it's saying to show that it's a factor, not is it a factor, right? So we already know it's going to be a factor. We just need to show it. You have two ways to do this. You can either do synthetic division or long division. I'm going to do synthetic division. So for synthetic division, the first thing I want to do is I want to remember that we synthetically use 5, right? We use the opposite of what's happening in that binomial. So it says x minus 5, we're going to use 5. If it said x plus 20, then we would use negative 20, all right? So that's the first thing. So synthetically, we're going to use 5, and then we set up our synthetic division kind of like our division thing upside down, our division bar upside down. Next, I'm going to take the 3. I'm going to take the negative 16. I'm going to take, ooh, that's a tricky one. I'm going to take the 1, and then I'm going to take the 20. I need the coefficients of every single term. So I need the 3, which is x to the power of 3. So the number next to the x to the power of 3, and then the 16, number x to the squared, and then the next x to the power of 1. Notice I have every single one spoken for. I have x to the power of 3, I have x squared, I have x. In order, everything is exactly where I see it, so I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write 3, then negative 16, then 1, don't want to forget that guy, and then finally 20, all right? And then we go through the synthetic division. Now remember, synthetic division, there are two things we want to remember, okay? Number one, if it's above the line, we're going to add them together. And if it's below the line, we're going to multiply by what we divide, what we are trying to divide by, which sounds confusing, and that's this number right here. We're going to multiply by that. So above the line, add them together or combine them together. And if it's below the line, multiply that by that 5 right there. Okay, so let's test it out. So the first thing we do, the first step is always bring on the first number. No matter what, you're always going to do that. So I always draw an arrow under the first number. Now you'll notice that the number 3 is below the line. So we're going to multiply it by the 5. That gives us 15. So we write the 15 over here. Now, since the 15 is above the line with the negative 16, we're going to combine that to negative 1. Now, since the negative 1 is below the line, we're going to multiply it with the 5. That gives us negative 5. Now, since the negative 5 is above the line, we're going to add it with the 1, which is negative 4. Now, you'll notice that it's always multiply it, and then you're going to add the result. Multiply it, and then you're going to add the result. Now, the negative 4 is under the line, so I'm going to multiply it by the 5. That gives me negative 20. Since the negative 20 is above the line, I'm going to combine it. And just like I had said, just like we had said, we expect the remainder, right? The remainder to equal 0. This shows that it is a factor. This shows that x minus 5 is a factor. Okay, so we now know that this function has x minus 5 as a factor, x minus 5 as a factor. Well, that just means that x minus 5 can be multiplied by something, right? X minus 5 can be multiplied by something that would give us that original function. Now it's not going to be a mystery. It's right here for us, right here, right? So we have 4, negative 4, and then the next number over, we put an x on it. And then the next number over, we put an x squared on it. And this right here, 3x squared minus 1x minus 4, that is the polynomial that I'm going to write here. 3x squared minus x. You can write 1x if you want. I'm going to write x minus 4. Now the problem in green says, then factor p of x completely. This is p of x kind of factored, right? You kind of factored the x minus 5. Now you need to factor the 3x squared minus x minus 4. We do this using our basic factoring skills. So we break down the 3x squared to 3x times x. We break down the 4 to 4 times 1, or or we can use the alternate version of 2 times 2. And then we just have to pick colors and mix and match. I'm going to go ahead and speed through this problem right here and just factor it out. But if you don't get it the first try, that just means you have to try something else, try a different variant. So rather than trying, let's say 2 and 2, maybe pick the 4 and the 1 and see if that works. And you'll notice that right there, you get the 4x. Right here, we get the 3x. That's perfect to get this 1x that is negative. So I'm going to make sure I have negative 4x, positive 3x. And we always put the top sign in the front parentheses and the bottom sign in the back parentheses. So our final factored form is x minus 5, 3x minus 4, and x plus 1. All right, so the two things are two answers right here. Number 1 is this stuff in pink, right? That answers the pink question. And then number 2, this answers the orange question. If you got any other questions for me, Dwight, please hit me up. And for those of you that are watching this video because you just needed a little bit extra help, if you have questions, once again, just email me. Other than that, have a really good night, and I'll talk to you guys later.